has contacted us, we've given them our information, and they're currently looking at what we've given them. And if they believe there are enough red flags there, they are going to then start their own investigation. On the other side of it, I got together the elected officials of the surrounding towns to propose a hospital authority made up of the multiple townships, and there was interest there. So we've been contacting all the other town officials about how can we together perhaps take over Muhlenberg. The other thing that I did is this past Tuesday, I got together Ken Bateman of Somerset Hospital, as well as several investors, and Jerry Green, and we had a discussion on how to put together a business model where the Somerset Hospital would manage Muhlenberg, the investors would bring the money to the table, and then Mr. Green would do his side of what he needs to do at the higher political levels. So I believe that this is the model that's going to work. What I personally would like to see happen, and I believe it could be orchestrated, is that Solaris be forced to hand over the hospital to the municipalities. The municipalities would own the hospital, and then by working with the investors, get the hospital refunded so it can start back up again, and then Somerset Hospital, which by the way has people that Solaris threw out working at that hospital, the emergency room people, the radiology, all these people were thrown out by Solaris and now are working at Somerset. They would come right back. They would love to come back into this hospital. All the doctors that have left all want to come back, and I think this scenario of having multiple people involved is what's going to keep this hospital open, and I think actually becoming much better than it was even in the past, because people then would have a vested interest to make sure that the hospital is successful and then serve the community. You know, I don't believe at all that Solaris's agenda has been to serve this community or to strengthen and grow Muhlenberg at all. So that's my involvement.
Sure. Let me ask you this right here, Olive. Again, we are talking with Oliver Lynch. What kind of infrastructure improvement do you think we can make in this city of Plainfield?
When you're meaning infrastructure, like
in terms of business, in terms of things of that nature, and roads also.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I know right now that there has been a bond taken out to do road improvement. I think one of the things that they have to do this systematically, because the city can only borrow so much money to do these big capital improvements. So I think what would be helpful to the citizens from that aspect is if they could let the citizens know we're going to do roads 1, 2, 3 first, and then next will come roads 4, 5, 6, so people know which roads will be repaved and corrected and that kind of thing. So I know the city is actually working on the road situation. As far as business, I think that I'm very not happy with how our economic development is functioning in this city. The whole focus of economic development right now is on putting in apartments and condos. There doesn't seem to me to be any systematic or strategic vision of the type of businesses that should be attracted to Plainfield. And one that I think that would be, it's been ignored, is the fact that Plainfield's on a major railroad track. And I believe that if you set the stage or did development near the railroad tracks that are accessible by commuters, and you made that attractive to companies that use IT, say like banks or finance companies or insurance companies, then what I think would work better for the city for downtown, rather than the apartments that they're proposing now and the retail, is put in office buildings and have the infrastructure set up that you could have IT, that you could have server farms, you could have, because a lot of the banks are looking to put a lot of their IT, groups out away from the city.
Sure.
And Plainfield's actually very central, so if you put something like that in the city, you would attract business. They would be there during office hours. They would use services in the city like the stores, and that they would shop, they would do whatever, and then they would leave and go home. So I don't see any vision or anything that's related to developing business in the city except for stores and except for putting in condos, except for putting in apartments. There's other businesses that could be attracted to this city, and I think things related to white-collar office-type work would be, something that should be looked at.
If you would take a look at Plainfield, and where, if you go down Clinton, I believe that's South Clinton and South Plainfield, they have that South Plainfield section of more of an industrial
right.
companies and things. Where could we do that here in Plainfield?
Well, we've got, some of those abandoned buildings, but I think part of the problem is the way the U.S. Economic way it's going is that industry really is not where the money is. Information is where the money is. So I think that really the focus should be on information technology.
Okay, well that's wonderful. Let me ask you this right here. How can we better stabilize our taxes?
Okay, taxes are a big issue. I think number one, if I were on the council, I would form a committee or be part of a committee that would do a forensic. Which way do you want me to go?
Move your fingers. Don't rest your fingers.
Okay, sorry about that.
Now you can move your hands, but don't rest them on top.
Okay. Okay. What I would one of the things I would do is I would look at how money's been spent, say, in the last 2 years. I would do like a forensic analysis of the financials and see where money is really being spent. I think then on the other side of it, that what citizens need to say is, like, let's say the city has 100 things that need to be done. Well, we can't do all 100 things. I mean, it's just impossible. So what you do is you prioritize and say, okay, let's pick the top 10. And these top 10 we want to get done this year. And this is where we want to focus our money. And so then you would look at how you're spending your money, and instead of frittering it away on activities that don't give you a real result or don't give you, something tangible, that we spent this money and we got X in return, I would take that money that's being wasted on things that aren't really effective and spend it concentrated on 10 projects, 15 projects, whatever it is, and do this in conjunction with citizens. Talk to citizens. What are the big priorities that they want the city to focus? Then people will know where their money's going. I think also that there's certain services that perhaps we would do better to have outsourced, because you'd have expertise that would do it for less money than what the city is spending now, because we don't have the expertise in-house. Okay. So that's the way I would tackle with taxes. And the goal would be is to keep taxes from stop rising, and actually, I would look to lower taxes and then give tax breaks to people bringing business into the city.
Yes. Right. More of what they call tax incentives.
Right, exactly.
Okay. Let me ask you this right here, Oliver. How can local government serve seniors?
How can they serve seniors?
Yes.
I think the big thing is, I think what seniors need at that point in their life really is they need, obviously, medical care. So keeping the hospital would be number one.
Number one, right.
Definitely.
Can't think of a better one than that.
Right, exactly. Having affordable housing, like some of the development that's been going on, having a place where they can live safely.
Sure.
I think, promoting activities. But I think the other thing that would be great for seniors is most people, as they get older, don't feel useful. They feel disconnected from their community.
Yes, right.
And one of the things I think would be really fabulous is take people, seniors, that could do projects with the youth in our town. So in other words, like, let's say you could do a class that, say for example, a bunch of girls would like to learn how to knit. And maybe a woman who's knitted all her life could lead that class, and she would have a function, and she could pass something on to the younger generation.
Sure.
So I would say one of the things I think would improve the quality of their life, improve the quality of our town, and is to try to put collaborative activities where the seniors work with the youth and do things together, and they share information or share stories, or they work together, or I just think something like that would then make someone who's older and they're retired to have purpose, and it would bring life into their lives, instead of just sitting in a room watching TV or just sitting and going, doing things that typically what seniors do.
Yeah, you're passing something on, and then they see growth in the young people.
You get involved, you stay involved in life, because I think too many times people take seniors and push them away because you're old and you can't do anything.
Sure.
No, I mean they have their minds, they have their hearts, they have their experience. I think really.
And people living a lot longer today because of modern medicine. Let me ask you this right here. You mentioned something the other day that really touched my heart when you talked about the young people and the project that you wanted to propose to the city council. Can you share that with us, Oliver?
Yes. I think, one of the problems that kids between 12 and 18 are at risk to getting involved with gangs. And what gangs offer to those kids is, teenagers want to belong and they want to do things with their peers. And at that point,